GM, chat. So, we just got the maintenance. You know what that means? That means Ninfoniel and Batsby are in the game now. So, we're gonna, deep dive this, with chat. And let's take a look at what they do, how we can play them, and all that kind of stuff, okay? So, look at that. 2 units that I don't have yet. I'll have them very shortly, max duped, hopefully. Let's see what they do, but let's start with Ninfoniel because she is the highlight, yeah? So Ninfoniel looks very good. I'm not even looking at the stats yet on purpose. Damn. I like her outfits. Okay. So, 122 speed. Okay. So she is not fast. She's basically as fast as every other healer out there, like Mia, Ling, I'm pretty sure. HP is relatively high. I want to say this is relatively high. Defense is okay, not bad. And we can see from, all the additional multipliers. That's what she's getting. Very nice that she's not getting effect accuracy. That's good. She doesn't need it. So let's look at the prowess here, okay? The shield provide is 8%, and then healing done is 10%. Okay, so that means the FRES is in her skills. Okay. I dig that. So let's take a look at the skills now. Skill 3. This is the one that is, the one that gives the new Rhyme Bloom thingy, right? Ninfoniel applies 2 turns attack up and 1 turn immunity to all allies, as well as a 2-turn Rhyme Bloom equal to 25% of her max HP. So she scales off her max HP for this one. So it's something like, what's his name? Hellkit, where he gives the Shroud Barrier, but it's based off his attack. This one is based off HP. So we know how to roughly build her, right? The duration of this effect increases by 1 turn for the main target. So you have to target someone. Okay, the duration of these effects. So she will give 3 turn attack up, 2 turns immunity, and 2 turn Rhyme Bloom. 3 turns Rhyme Bloom, if I'm reading this correctly. Okay, let's see what her skill ups give. 20%, 25%. So this is probably starting at like what? 15%, I want to say? 15, 18% of her own max HP. And then it will scale up. And now let's look at Rhyme Bloom. Rhyme Bloom absorbs an equal amount of damage, increases attack by 4. Bro, she gives attack up and Rhyme Bloom. That is an 80% attack increase, guys. Chat, two instances of attack buffs, and then you pair that with Earl, and then you get an extra 1200 attack. That's a lot of fucking damage, bro. Holy shit, she will just nuke shit. That's nice. I like that. Okay. And this is a 4-turn cooldown, okay? If not, it's going to be a 5-turn. So, if you want to use her without skill ups, or you want to go to 4, then you're going to need Codex, I would assume. Okay. And she gets HP here. That is very natural. Let's look at the S2. The S2 is the one that health equalizes and AoE heals. 25% of their max HP. So this is off their max HP. That's nice. So it equalizes and then heals. That's good. So that means you equalize. So no matter how little HP you have, you will get back some HP. So this is nice. Also a 4-turn cooldown. And let's see. 15%, 20%, 25%. So it starts at 10% first, I will assume. I think that's fine. Because you're health equalizing anyway, right? Unless you're in like some dire situation, you're already going to be somewhat max HP, I will assume, because you're going to have that Rhyme Bloom shield as well. So some units are going to get damaged, some units are not going to get damaged, and then you can redistribute that HP spread. I don't mind this. Okay, and this is where you're going to get the FRES. Cool. And then the S1 is where the speed is, as usual. 240% and 50% chance to apply res up to herself for 2 turns, so that she can't get CC. Because I will assume when you're playing her, the sequence is you're going to use this S3 on your DPS. So your DPS will have 3 turns attack up, 3 turns Rhyme Bloom, and 2 turns of immunity. That means she is only going to have a 1 turn immunity. And then the res up is going to help her, you know, resist shit. Hopefully. Okay, I don't know whether that's going to be super helpful. But res up is increased by 40%. Okay. Honest to God, this S1 is very negligible. You can actually just literally not care about it if you're not looking for the speed. But I think you're going to be looking for the speed anyway, so you're going to get 240%, and the res up is going to be 50% chance. 1 turn is enough. You don't even need... You can just go 4 on this one. So I think that she needs 3... Does she need any here? 414, and she's usable, I think, or even 411, really, to be honest. I assume that this 40% Rhyme Bloom buff is going to be like maybe a 20%, I want to say, or 25%. That's still a good amount of damage up though, I can't lie. Alright, so that's what we see her. I think that you either play her on Codex, or you could potentially play her on Supernova so that she has that 1 turn Bulwark as well from the start, so she can't get CC'd. And then you have the next turn when you wrap around, you can get a bit more healing done from Supernova. That also works on her. And you're definitely going to be building her, you know, speed Bloodbath, I would assume. Okay? And depending on how you want to play her, I would assume that she wants to be always moving first, so she needs to be quite fast. And because she needs to be quite fast, 122. I want to say your speed tuning should just be faster than your DPS, to be honest. Just be faster than your DPS. You don't have to be super obnoxiously fast. As long as she takes a turn, your damage units are going to do things. Cool. Alright, let's look at Batsby now. The Great Batsby. 1.1k attack, that's not very high. It's decent. It's not as low as Rosa, but it's not as high as Messiah. So that's okay. Gets 30% crit rate, so that's nice. 12% crit damage, so I assume that his prowesses are going to give him this. It will be crit rate, crit damage. 120 speed. He is quite fast, dude. He's quite fast. Which is good. He is also a little bit tankier than... Right? 10k HP, that's pretty... That's quite a lot, right? I'm not crazy, yeah? Alright, let's look at the prowesses. Let's look at his dupes. Yeah, crit damage, crit rate. That's what I expected already. And then let's look at his S3. Okay, this is where his speed is. 390% damage to all enemies with a 100% chance to inflict vulnerable for 2 turns. For every unit that lands, he lands a crit. 20% turn meter. So if you're playing this in RTA, which is a 4-man team, you're getting 80% turn meter push. Immediately, that means he's going to go into his S2 quite quickly. Whoa, he's also 3 turns. This is a very low cooldown. So you can cycle this non-stop, if I'm not wrong here. So what's it going to look like? It's going to look like he's going to S3. He's going to get 80% turn meter because you're building him 100% crit. There's no way you're not building him 100% crit. He puts vulnerable on your opponent. He's a 1-hit though. He is a 1-hit, which is fine. Because technically he's 2 hits because he's going to go again. And we know his both his attacks are AoE. And for every crit landed, he gains 20% turn meter. In a PvE setting, he's going to get the turn immediately. Wait, that also means that he can also, you know, he can also just wipe out Doki Doki. He just makes Doki Doki so much easier now. That's interesting. Okay. The vulnerable will happen for his S2, so it makes them take more damage. And he definitely needs skill out. 390% multiplier is not, crazy, right? We have seen, like Born with like almost 500%, right? But it's definitely, a respectable amount. Because if I'm not mistaken, Rahu is 380 at the moment for his AoE. So this is not bad. And if you're pairing this with Ninfoniel, plus all the attack up and then the vulnerable, Jesus, bruh. So this is not bad. I don't mind this. I honestly think he's going to be pretty tofu heavy though. His S2, that's the next thing. So what does this give? Crit rate. Yep. 330% damage to all enemies against a single hit. On crit, there's a 100% chance to extend all debuffs on the target, excluding control effects. Oh, did they change this? So dot works now. So if you can play this with like an oboe and then have like a 3-turn extend on dots for PvE, which is nice. By 1 turn. Okay. So that's 100% chance for a crit. This damage doesn't need to be absurd because you're already getting vulnerable. And he's already definitely going to be, abusing that vulnerable, right? Increases the chance to... Yep. Also a 3 turns. So there's you can do something along the lines of like, you S3 into his S2, and then you use like, let's say a Lily, and then you can do S3, S2 again. Or you can even use a Mia. Right? Because the second you use this thing, it goes down to 2, and then you get your wave breaker, you hit again, and then you can go into, like a Mia, for example, with a cooldown reduce, and then you can reduce it again, and you can go into S3 into S2. There's a lot of combos you can do with this guy. Holy shit. That's nice. That is nice. One hit we have to see. I want to assume that he's going to do a lot of damage. Oh yeah, that's right. We haven't seen his S1 yet. There's a special exclusive passive. So his S1 is a 220 to a single enemy with a 40% chance to inflict 2 turns wound. So we can actually, put wound on like Tiamats and stuff like that for bruises. That's nice. Alright, Tidal Surge. This is a long ass one. For every 1 debuff on an enemy animus, Batsby deals damage to them. Batsby's damage to them increase by 10%. If the target's affinity is counted by Batsby, and they are the main target of the skill, damage dealt increases to 30%, stacking up to 6 times. So it's a stack. Jesus, how does this stack works? Is it like a little thingy that he has on top of his buff? So you run this guy with momentum, so he's already getting damage from momentum, right, on every debuff. Plus his own Tidal Surge. Plus if it's a, elemental advantage, so like Holden's, bye-bye. That is insane. That is a lot of damage. So S3, S2 just literally just fucking kills Holden on the spot. Because think about it, if you're playing this with Ninfoniel, right, you're gonna get Rhyme Bloom, right, so you already have a shield. You're gonna have attack up. You're probably going to have, play Earl on him, so he's gonna get another 1200 attack, right, and then he goes S3 into a unit, put vulnerable, so now he gets an extra 40% damage, plus, 6% on momentum, that's 46% extra more damage on him, plus 80% attack, and then if Holden counters, he just strips away the shield, so he still have another 40% attack, plus, Earl's 1200 attack. That's still a lot of damage. He's gonna just mop the floor. I like this. Okay. Looks like I'm definitely max duping all of them. Cool. So you get a crit rate here, and you get speed here, and attack here. Guys, I'm not gonna lie, I think this guy is a... This guy's a 555. This guy's straight up 555. Because that's a lot of good shit in his kit. I'm not gonna lie. Cool. Alright. So definitely I'm gonna think of some... I think we were gonna run him, Momentum Bulwark, Swift Rush, or Swift Raid. But he has to be slower than your debuffers. That is 100%. That's clear. Right? As long as it's slower than your debuffers and your strippers, That's how your speed tuning is supposed to be. So if you use Swift Raid and you know you're a little too fast, go Fury Edge. Okay? Earl has both. And I think Earl is just his best one. I don't think there's any other one. Because he's single hit. Yeah, he's single hit. Yeah, I think Earl is still the best one. Because Revelation is not that good on him. What else? What else are attack ones? Golden Lion maybe, but it's too slow for him because he doesn't counter attack. What else do we have? White Fang. White Fang could work actually, because I would assume that White Fang also gets this title search, maybe? I don't know. I hope not, because that would be fucking insane, White Fang. But if you play White Fang, he's going to be giga fast though. That means you're playing a super fast team. But yeah, I think that's it. That's all the DPS ones that we can think of. That I can think of at least. But you're definitely not running him on some kind of wishy-washy fucking... what is that shit called? Bloodbath, you know, thing. He's going to be pure damage. I think Momentum is still his best piece. And Earl because of Bulwark, so that he will definitely get a turn. Yeah. Cool. So, that's what I think about him. We're running him on Earl with Momentum, Bulwark, Swift Raid, or Fury Edge, one of them. And then for Ninfoniel, we are definitely running some kind of variation of Swift Rush, Bloodbath, and either Swift Smite. Swift Break could work just to get a bit more damage on the S1 because the S1 doesn't say it's cut out of a max HP, so it's going to be attack. That could work. Or we can just run, you know, Bloodbath, Swift Rush only, but on Supernova. Or we could run her Bloodbath, Bulwark. There are a lot of ways to build her. So, we'll have to see. I want to see how my speed tuning is. When I get them first, then I can start cooking. But that's what I'm thinking. Either Supernova or Codex. Alright? Chat. Hopefully you found value in this. Alright? If you did, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Tell me in the comments down below what you think about them. Whether you found value in my insights. And with that, catch you guys in the next one.